Welcome to the Los Borrachos Happy Hour with your host, three-time fantasy champion, your new commish, Los Borrachos.
What up, what up, what up? Hell yeah, let's go. Week number 5, baby. Fucking season's going by. Going by pretty fast. First month, done. Um, so far, good, bad. How y'all feeling? Um, so yeah, I'm gonna go over the top 10 at each position. Then I'll go over the standings, see where everyone stands, see how close you are as far as points wise or record wise. And then I'll go over the matchups through every single one. Give you guys a little advice on each one. See what you guys thinking. See what's up. So yeah, let's get into it.
Here are the top ranks in each position. Brought to you by Yahoo.
All right, in our first position, we have the quarterback position. These are the Yahoo rankings, how they rank them going into week number 5. So here we go. In first place, we got Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, number 2, number 3, Jaden Daniels, number 4, Jordan Love, number 5, Brock Purdy, 6, Justin Fields, 7, Kyler Murray, 8, CJ Stroud, number 9, Joe Burrow, and in 10th place, Baker Mayfield. Lamar Jackson rushing the ball a little bit more, giving you those rushing yards plus throwing. Not too much throwing. Mark Andrews owners and Zay Flowers owners know a little something about that. But yes, doesn't seem like they kind of want to throw too much. They're more of a run team now, I guess. Josh Allen fucking shit the bed last week. Let's hope he has a bounce back against Houston. Houston's a pretty tough defense, but we just had Trevor Lawrence throw on them, so I don't think they're that big of a deal. Jaden Daniels, fucking that rookie, man, blowing up this year. If we had known, probably would have gone higher in the draft. Jordan Love, number 4 against the Rams. Rams have a shitty defense. Um, Everyone's been able to throw on him. Caleb Williams was able to throw on him. So I don't see why Jordan Love wouldn't be able to air it out against them. Number 5, Brock Purdy gets Arizona. Maybe they want to run, but they've been throwing the ball a lot, so maybe wants to get those wide receivers a little bit more involved. So should have a good game. Justin Fields versus Dallas. I don't see why Dallas wouldn't be able to put up points. So mini shootout with them. Number 7, Kyler Murray at San Francisco. They usually have a good first drive, and then after that, it feels like he shuts down. So let's see if he get it together against San Francisco. Maybe get some points there. CJ Stroud versus Buffalo is a tough defense. You could run on them. You can't really throw on Buffalo, as you saw on fucking Sunday night. So yeah, this CJ Stroud might be temper expectations there. Joe Burrow versus Baltimore. They're struggling, but I don't see how he wouldn't be able to get something done with Chase and Higgins back and Yoshivas. Baker Mayfield like at Atlanta Thursday night game. Could it be a small shootout or just could be a sluggish game? Because Atlanta's a pretty tough defense. So yeah, we'll get into running backs. All right, next up, running backs. So first we got Derrick Henry versus Cincinnati, Jordan Mason versus Arizona, number 3 Alvin Kamara versus KC, 4 Kyron Williams versus Green Bay, 5 Bijan Robinson versus Tampa, 6 Kenneth Walker versus the New York Giants, 7th James Cook versus Houston, 8th Brees Hall versus Minnesota, 9th Josh Jacobs versus the Rams, and number 10 Aaron Jones versus the New York Jets. Yeah, I mean Derrick Henry could get it done against Cincinnati. Like I said, it looks like they're trying to run that ball first, get that run game established. So I don't see why he shouldn't put up big numbers against Cincinnati. Jordan Mason versus Arizona. We just saw Brian Robinson torch them. I don't see why Jordan Mason wouldn't be able to do it. That offensive line in San Francisco is pretty good. Number three, Alvin Kamara at KC. I mean, that could be a mini shootout. He gets those checkdowns, so I don't see how he couldn't PPR his way into like a good fantasy day. Kyron Williams. I mean, that's all the offense right there. I mean, Packers aren't too bad against the run, so that's why I don't see him. I see he could do some good things against the Green Bay. Bijan versus Tampa Bay. I mean, hopefully they see how he does. I know he's dealing with some sort of hamstring injury or something like that, so maybe they just give him low reps. Maybe he's just more of a pass catcher at this point. Maybe they go back to how Arthur Smith was splitting the fucking things with him and Tyler Algier just to keep him healthy at least for to his full health. Kenneth Walker, I mean, he just fucking blew up against Detroit. I guess the number one ranked defense against the run, so I don't see how he wouldn't be able to do it against the Giants. James Cook at Houston. I think Houston's okay against the run. I'm not too sure, but he should get back, especially with Buffalo. They got away from that run early in that game, so I think just go back to giving that run, establish the run, and then set up the pass. Number eight, Brees Hall against Minnesota. Minnesota's getting pretty tough. I mean, they shut down I think Josh Jacobs last week. He didn't get too many run, but we'll see. Josh Jacobs at the Rams. I mean, Jordan Mason put up numbers on him. Problem with Josh Jacobs is he's sharing carries with Emmanuel Wilson. That's the fucking problem with Green Bay. They don't want to have a bell cow. They want to just give him some touches, I guess. And Aaron Jones against New York Jets. I mean, the Jets are pretty stout defense, but I don't see how he wouldn't do it. He pass catches and everything else. Um, that could be interesting for him. So yeah, we'll move on into wide receivers. All right, and wide receiver. So in first we have CeeDee Lamb going up against Pittsburgh. I mean, he's gonna have that Joey Porter shadow, but I don't see why he can't do it. I mean, we saw Michael Pittman Jr. put up some points against them. Um, so yeah, see, I think he could get it done against Pittsburgh. Number two, Nico Collins against Buffalo. Like I said, Buffalo's a tough defense. They don't allow too much on the pass. They try to keep everything in front of you, which is little dink and dunks, that's more Stephon Diggs' game. Nico Collins is like over the top. Um, but I mean, he's been getting 100 yards every single game, so I think he could do it. Justin Jefferson versus the Jets, he'll get the Sauce Gardner treatment, but I mean, he's Justin Jefferson. You don't sit him. Same thing, number four with Jamar Chase against Baltimore. I mean, they're tough, but you could still throw on. You could throw on the damn Ravens. It's just more like, would you have time? I'm not sure what the Bengals offensive line looks like. But yeah, Jamar Chase should be solid. Malik Neighbors at Seattle. I mean, same thing. They have a pretty good defense. That's more on if Daniel Jones could get him the ball. I'm sure he's going to pepper him with targets, but like I said, he could probably PPR his way to a good fantasy day. Number six, DK Metcalf versus the Giants. I mean, he's been solid. Uh, fucking Geno Smith's been pretty solid this season. Um, apparently they're throwing on neutral game script is what they call it. So when you're supposed to be running the ball, they throw it. He threw the ball 55 times, I guess, on Monday night. So I don't see why DK couldn't have a good Sunday. Number seven, Jaden Reed at the Rams. Same thing. They get him more involved. They scheme for him to get open and shit like that. So I don't see why he shouldn't have another good game against the Rams. Number 8, Marvin Harrison Jr. at San Francisco. Tougher matchup, but I think he could do well if Kyler Murray could get it together. Like I said, he has a touchdown in every game for the last 3 games. So we'll see if he could survive that San Francisco defense. Number 9, Mike Evans at Atlanta. I mean, they have a good corner there. I forgot his name. Um, but it's a divisional game, so I don't think Mike Evans should have a problem against Atlanta. So he should do well. Plus, Baker's always looking for him, and he's good for a good bomb. Number 10, Drake London versus Tampa. Again, I mean, Kirk Cousins should look for him a lot and get him more involved. I don't think he should be number 10. But yeah, so that's the top 10. We'll go on to tight end. All right, and on to tight end. Number 1, we got George Kittle versus Arizona. Arizona sucks against the tight end position. George Kittle came back. I don't think he's dealing with injury. I think he was, or he came back into that game. I'm not too sure, but I don't see why he can't do it against Arizona. Number 2, Travis Kelce back on the board at number 2 with against New Orleans. With Rashee Rice out, I don't see why he wouldn't get those targets that he was getting before. Um, yeah, because they need him now. They don't really have anyone else. I mean, Juju and something Watson. Number 3, Brock Bowers at Denver. Denver struggles a bit against the tight end. They are going to be at Denver, so just keep an eye out on that weather. But he should do well. I doubt Devontae Adams plays. They're trying to save him for the trade. So, but yeah, number 4, Trey McBride. He should be back from concussion protocol. I don't see why he can't get some of those targets against San Francisco. Number 5, Jake Ferguson at Pittsburgh. They let a tight end score this past week, and Pittsburgh did. I don't see why Jake Ferguson couldn't do it. Number 6, Dalton Kincaid at Houston. He led the team in targets last week. They're getting him more involved, having him run some routes out there. Nobody else could catch that damn ball. So Dalton Kincaid, a good safety blanket. Number 7, Tucker Kraft at the Rams. I mean, why not? He put up some good stat lines last week. I just don't think it'll be a shootout against the Rams, and I think that's the reason why he had such a big game was because they were from behind. Number 8, Pat Fryermuth. I mean, he's been pretty good. I mean, we saw Justin Cole Kmet blow up with Justin Fields. I don't see why Pat Fryermuth wouldn't do that. And number 9, Cole Kmet versus Carolina. Looks like they're trying to just keep Caleb Williams throwing it kind of short, not too out there, short distances or down the middle. So I could see Cole Kmet get some targets. And number 10, Kyle Pitts. I mean, again, I think this game could be a mini shootout. So I don't see why they wouldn't be able to look on him. Goddard put up a good stat line against them last game, so I don't see why Kyle Pitts wouldn't be able to do that, unless there's something really wrong with that guy or he's still injured or something. But yeah, that's your top 10. We'll move on to DSTs. All right, and on to defenses. Number 1, San Francisco versus Arizona. I mean, like I said, Kyler Murray is good for like that one first drive, and then after that, it just fucking falls apart. Number 2, Chicago versus Carolina. I mean, Chicago's a good defense. They're gonna be at home versus Carolina. Andy Dalton revenge game. At this point, Andy Dalton has revenge games with everybody. Uh, Number three, Denver Broncos versus Las Vegas. Like I said, no Devontae Adams. The run game's not getting out there. They just shut down Aaron Rodgers the week before that. I think they shut down Tampa Bay. So I mean that Broncos defense is pretty legit. Seahawks versus the Giants. Mm, yeah, I mean, yeah, they got scored on by Seattle. I mean, by Detroit, but I mean, Giants, Malik Neighbors, maybe. Um, Number five, New York Jets at Minnesota. Minnesota's been fucking rumbling. They're 4-0. I mean, Jets a good defense, but still, I don't know. Minnesota with Jordan Addison back and Justin Jefferson, Aaron Jones. They got weapons there, so I think it could score on them. That's why I don't see them being at five. Number six, New England versus Miami. Taylor Huntley starting again, and we saw how that went this past game. Maybe they scheme it a little bit better. Maybe they work on that deep throw that he had with Tyreek Hill. Maybe it connects this time, but I don't see it. New England's a pretty good coach team, so it's gonna be a good one for Patriots. Number seven, Minnesota versus the Jets. I mean, if they can't keep Aaron Rodgers like upright, that damn offensive line, then the Minnesota Vikings could get some shit on there. Not many interceptions, but I'm sure like sacks is what we'll be able to get. Dolphins at New England, same thing. They got a shitty quarterback and other stuff, so maybe, but I don't trust them after Monday night. They didn't look too good with all that money they spent. Number nine, Baltimore Ravens at Cincinnati. Again, Cincinnati has solid offensive weapons. Could score on them. Could be turned to a shootout. Number 10, Chiefs versus New Orleans. They'll be at home. I mean, they did okay versus the Chargers, but again, if that offense doesn't produce and they're on the field too long, they could get some scores on them just because being worn out and everything. Uh, yeah, that's the top 10 defenses going into week number 5.
This week's Team Standings, brought to you by Los Borrachos.
All right, and our standings. Looks a little different this time. In first place, Los Borrachos at 3-1. In second, Rebel Scum at 3-1. In third place, Mike and the Boys at 3-1. In fourth, the Rook at 2-2. And fifth, Los Tanks at 2-2. Sixth place, Warhammers at 2-2. In seventh, the Arab Sensations at 2-2. Eighth place, OG Men at 2-2. Ninth, Nighthawk at 1-3. And in 10th place, the En Fuegos at 0-4. So far, 10th with no wins, 9th with only one win, 8th through 4th is 2-2, and then third to 1, 2, 3 is 3-1. So far, the highest points is the Rook in 4th place with 648. Points against the most, Warhammers with 541. Right now, Los Borrachos and Robo Scum have a win streak of 3 wins. The En Fuegos with 4 losses. Yeah, man, it's getting closer and closer that we are moving apart from each other. Yeah, we'll check into the matchups and see who's playing who.
League matchups.
All right, in our week number 5 matchups. First, we have Los Borrachos versus the Rook, Los Tanks versus Rebel Scum, Mike and the Boys versus the Arab Sensation, Nighthawk versus OG Men, and the En Fuegos versus the Warhammers. So a few We're pretty much mixed in with 3-1s going versus 2. Maybe they'll try to even it out, put us back into all even, but we'll see. We'll get into each matchup. See what advice I can give you. Let's get ready to rumble. All right, in our first matchup, we have Los Borrachos versus the Rook. Los Borrachos projected at 124. The Rook projected at 123. Seems like it's going to be a close one. Los Borrachos is starting Josh Allen, Marvin Harrison Jr., Brian Thomas Jr., Bijan Robinson, Jordan Mason, Don Kincaid, Chuba Hubbard, Dontavian Wicks, and the New England defense. The Rook is starting Geno Smith. Huh? You finally listen, but when you play me, you some bitch. Nico Collins, DK Metcalf, Jonathan Taylor, Aaron Jones, Kyle Pitts, Chris Godwin, Jaden Reed, and the Chicago defense. For Los Borrachos, I mean, Josh Allen had a down game. Shit, hopefully he gets together against Houston. It's like he's been one good game, off game, good game, off game. Should be a good game this time. Marvin Harrison Jr. versus San Francisco. Like I said, I mean, he should be able to get it done. He gets the targets. Should be schemed wide open. Hopefully, if this ends up turning into a shootout, or they have to play catch up, I could see him getting a few targets. Brian Thomas Jr. versus Indy. Indy giving up some good yardage to the wide receiver. Got a lot of targets with Trevor Lawrence. Looks like that's their deep threat. Fucking Gabe Davis sucks. So yeah, I don't see why Brian Thomas wouldn't be able to do it. He's been solid pretty much all season. Bijan Robinson versus Tampa Bay. I mean, he says he's good to go. That he's just dealing with some soreness and whatnot, as expected, getting all those touches. But yeah, I mean, Thursday night against Tampa Bay should be a good matchup for him, especially if he gets those catches, those screens, and stuff like that. Hopefully, he can PPR his way to a good game. Jordan Mason versus Arizona. I mean, if they just want to control the clock and just run the ball against Arizona, Jordan Mason's pretty solid. Don Kincaid, like I said, he's been getting the targets. Looks like they get him more involved, getting some tight end screens and stuff like that. One of the more solid hands in the fucking team. Nobody was catching the ball that night, so we'll see if he do it against Houston. Chuba Hubbard versus Chicago, a bit tough matchup versus Chicago. But I mean, he's running pretty well, and I don't see why he wouldn't be able to get it done against Chicago. Dontavian Wicks versus the Rams. I mean, looks like Christian Watson won't be playing this week due to that ankle injury. He had 13 targets last game. Like I said, I mean, they were coming from behind, so we'll see how this game turns out. And then New England versus Miami, like I said, Tyler Huntley. Is going to start for them. I don't know if in 2 weeks he could learn all that playbook and do better, but we'll see. At Leggett, against Chicago, I don't know if I trust it. I think I'm going to roll with the new toy of Dontavian Wicks. Yeah, no one on my bench. I'd really start over some of those guys. I mean, maybe if Hilaire comes back, but even if he comes back, I'd give him a week before I throw him out there, see how it looks. Got McConkey on a bye, so that's why I got to start somebody else. As a Rook, picked up Geno Smith, starting him. Like I said, Seattle's throwing the ball a lot of the time. Plus, you get that double stack with him and Metcalf. So yeah, I mean, I wish you would have done this move after you played me, but I guess now you probably listen to my advice. Uh, Again, Nico Collins should be solid. He gets 100 yards every game. Even if they're losing, they try to get him the ball as much as they can. Um, my bad, I'm getting notifications about injuries and shit. Jonathan Taylor, I mean, I'm hearing he might sit this week. So fucking I saw Tony put in a waiver for Trey Sermon. But yeah, because the problem is that it was on the same same ankle that he got a surgery on. So, and he was out for a while that last time. You could ask Rebel Scum about that one. uh, so yeah, that sucks because that was a good matchup against Jacksonville. Aaron Jones versus the Jets. Like I said, Jets are pretty tough, but I don't see why he couldn't do it, especially with the threat of Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. And like I said, he catches the ball from the back, and he could PPR his way into some a good night. I mean, a good game. Just FYI, that game's at 6:30 in the morning. They play in London. Keep out just in case. You know what happened last time where someone left someone in there. Didn't check the injury reports before. Kyle Pitts versus Tampa Bay. I mean, maybe if it turns to a shootout and they need to throw, and like I said, Goddard put up some good stat line against Tampa Bay. I don't see why he wouldn't be able to do it against Tampa. Kyle Pitts. If you can't get it this week, man, I don't know what to tell you. Godwin versus Atlanta. Uh, yeah, he should do solid. He's been getting a lot of targets, and then with some of the focus on Mike Evans, he should get it done. Jin Reed, fucking solid ever since Jordan Love. When he plays with Jordan Love, he puts up at least 20, 30 points. Sucks for me, but it is what it is. So it'd be Packer versus Packer. Chicago versus Carolina. Yeah, I mean with Andy Dalton, it seems like a better offense. So who knows? And then if Caleb Williams can get it together, I don't know if that Chicago defense is gonna be rested and then they get scored on and shit. Um, but yeah, I mean Singletary over what's his name? Jonathan Taylor, I guess that's your probably best option because Charbonnet with Kenneth Walker back, unless you hoping they blow him out and then they just kind of run the ball out and it's Charbonnet that gets those touches. Um, yeah, because there's not much on the waiver wire that you could pick up and start that I would say and give you like a good number. But who knows? I mean, maybe you get enough from these wide receivers that'll carry that zero from the running back, or because you got Barkley and Dobbins on a bye this week. But yeah, man. Well, fuck you. No good luck to you. But yeah, man. Like I said, just check that waiver wire, see what's up. I think I saw Chandler from the Vikings. Maybe you could pick him up. I mean, if they declare out Taylor before the games, hopefully they do that Saturday. That way you could just pick him up. You can move him to your IR spot and then pick him up. Um, but yeah, check it out. Oh, P Ryan is also on the waiver wire too. But yeah, check it out. All right, on to our next matchup. Let's get ready to rumble. All right, in our next matchup, we got Los Tanks versus Rebel Scum. Los Tanks projected at 119 and Rebel Scum projected at 120. So another close projection. We have Los Tanks starting Sam Darnold, Tyreek Hill, Amari Cooper, Kyron Williams, Alvin Kamara, Jake Ferguson, Debo Samuel, DeAndre Swift, Minnesota. Rebel Scum starting Lamar Jackson, Justin Jefferson, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Devon Achan, Ramondre Stevenson, Pat Fryermuth, James Conner, and Najee Harris, and the Chiefs defense. Sam Darnold over Dak Prescott, huh? He should do good. I mean, like I said, he's been putting solid numbers. I mean, he's had to. And I mean, why wouldn't he with all those weapons that he has? I mean, does it keep it going against the Jets? Revenge game? I don't see why not. I mean, it's already been 4 weeks. He leads the league in touchdown passes. So, yeah. Tyreek Hill versus New England. I mean, you're hoping for that bomb to finally connect. Like I said, hopefully they work on it in practice. They were off like by this much. Either he overthrew him or he underthrew him. Maybe they work on that. Amari Cooper versus Washington. They're at Washington. Bad defense. Dude. When I saw him score that 80-yard touchdown, I was like, "Fuck, it's over." But they called it back. I mean, I don't see why he wouldn't get it together against Washington. Washington, not a team that scares you. Kyron Williams versus Green Bay. Like I said, that was solid. He's getting like 90% of the touches. All this talk about what's his name? Blake Corum. Doesn't seem like it's gonna be a thing. Unless something happens to Kyron Williams, then that's the only time I guess he'll get a shot in there. Alvin Kamara, I'm telling you, should be a shootout. Could PPR his way into a good fantasy day. Jake Ferguson should have a solid game against Pittsburgh. Um, it's at Pittsburgh, huh? Okay. Yeah, I mean, he's only second to CD Lamb with targets. I just got a notification that Brandon Cooks is going to be out, so more targets for him and CD Lamb. Debo Samuel versus Arizona. I mean, hopefully it doesn't turn into a run game, but Debo should be solid. He gets involved in that in those games. Swift had a blow up game last game, but that was the Rams. Carolina, a little bit stiffer of a defense. I mean, they did give up some points to both Chase Brown and Zach Moss. So should be a good day if they keep continue using him like how they did this last game. Get him out on the edges, some sweeps and stuff like that. So that should work for him. Minnesota versus the Jets. Like I said, Minnesota's been solid all season. I picked them up last week, but I had to drop. I'm gonna pick up some insurance on another end, but that should be a solid start. Um, yeah, no one. I mean, to me, it's hard to sit some of those guys you have on your starting lineup for Addison. I mean, he did just have a two score game. DJ Moore looks like he's unhappy and whatnot. Um, yeah, I don't know. It'd just be more the question mark with Tyreek Hill, but I don't see why the rest of your team wouldn't be able to carry you. So yeah, man, not much advice for you. You got a solid squad. Rebel Scum, Lamar Jackson versus Cincinnati. I mean, if they're just trying to run the ball here and there, he's part of the run game, so he should get some points there. Justin Jefferson, solid. Like I said, even though he's going against the Jets, just temper a little expectations because he's going against Sauce Gardner. But I mean, as long as Sam Darnold could get him the ball, he should be fine. Jackson Smith and Jigba, Had a good game. I just don't think they're gonna need to throw too much in this game against the Giants. So just temper expectations on that. Devon Achan against New England. Problem with Achan is that he's a smaller back, so him going in between the tackles doesn't really do well for him. His whole thing is like going out on the edge and stuff like that. Um, Getting receptions and stuff like that. So hopefully they work on that, especially with Huntley. Like I said, in 2 weeks, can he get the offense down? Then all right. Starting Stevenson against Miami. Hopefully he can hold on to the ball. But yeah, I mean, they just gave up a bunch of points to Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears. I don't see why New England wouldn't want to just run this ball, maybe here and there, dinking dunks, just to get a win on that and be out. Fryermuth versus Dallas. Should be a good matchup for him. Like I said, he's getting the targets. And like I said, Justin Fields can move around, create something, and Fryermuth gets open. And I think he got a touchdown last game, right? So he's solid. At this point, fucking any tight end that could get you at least 5 points, you're good with. Connor versus San Francisco. I mean, he had a bad game against 2 weeks ago, but then he came back against Washington. He should be solid against San Francisco. Just like hopefully this game doesn't get away from him and then abandon the run. Najee Harris versus Dallas. I mean, I'd check on what's going on with what's his name, Cordell Patterson. They're saying he looked pretty good, and until he got injured, then Najee wasn't really in there like that. So just keep a lookout on that. But you could run on Dallas, so it's just more of Harris's ability to run against them. Chiefs against New Orleans. Yeah, Carr is good for like interception or something like that or sacks. So should be, but yeah, he does know them pretty well since he played them in the division. I mean, why not put Rashid Shaheed over Najee? Like I said, that could be a shootout. Their top corner will be shadowing Chris Olave, not what you call it, not Shaheed. And Jacoby Myers, he'll get the Patrick Surtain shadow. Chase Brown, I mean, he's sharing touches with what's his name? Zach Moss. You got Brown and Pollard on a bye. But yeah, those will be my only one that you could take a look at. Rashid Shaheed. I know he's getting targets and not just like deep targets. He's getting like intermediate ones, like different route tree stuff. So I don't see why he shouldn't be able to put up some points. Yeah, that's my only advice. I mean, you got solid squad. Just like I said, you got Pollard and Brown on a bye, so it kind of limits you a little bit. Wonder if we could put people that are on bye in our IR spot. I'll take a look at that. But yeah, so yeah, good luck to both of you. We'll move on to the next one. Let's get ready to rumble. All right, at our next matchup, we have Mike and the Boys versus the Arab Sensations. Mike and the Boys projected at 120. The Arab Sensation projected at 116. Mike and the Boys starting Brock Purdy, CeeDee Lamb, Stephon Diggs, Josh Jacobs, Jerome Ford, George Kittle, T. Higgins, Zay Flowers, Seattle's defense. The Arab Sensations starting CJ Stroud, Garrett Wilson, Drake London, Travis Etienne, Brian Robinson, Tyreek Hill, Malik Neighbors, Roma Dunze, and the San Francisco defense. Mike and the boys, Brock Purdy should be a solid start against Arizona. Like I said, it just hopefully it doesn't turn into a run game, but I think it should be fine. Uh, he's throwing a lot. I think he led the league for a while with passing yards. But yeah, so he should be good. CeeDee Lamb versus Pittsburgh. Again, just gotta watch out for that Joey Porter shadow. But like I said, if Pittman can do it, CeeDee Lamb can do it. Just Dak's got to pull that trigger and let him win in those on some of those routes. Stephon Diggs versus Buffalo, revenge game. I'm sure they're gonna want to get him involved, show him what Buffalo's missing. Um, so we'll see. Josh Jacobs versus the Rams. Rams suck. I mean, Jordan Mason put up some yardage on him. Like I said, the only problem with Josh Jacobs is just the touches. Fucking Matt LaFleur can't help himself and change it into a fucking timeshare. Um, so that's the only thing holding back Josh Jacobs. He mostly benefited from having all the work and with the Raiders. So being over here with Green Bay, it's not gonna do pretty good with him sharing touches. Jerome Ford versus Washington. I mean, Washington sucks. James Conner just put up a good stat line against them. He looks healthy, so he should be good to go. Jerome Ford. Um, I don't see why you can't put up a good stat line against Washington. Kittle versus Arizona. I mean, you play your tight end against Arizona. Pretty much they can't really stop anybody. T. Higgins versus Baltimore. I mean, he was getting more involved. They were planning stuff for him. So he should be good. Zay Flowers. I mean, they don't want to throw the ball really, but I mean, he's a good what you call it, one play guy where he could catch a bomb for a touchdown or he gets those little screens. Seattle versus the New York Giants. Same thing. I mean, it's just more Malik Neighbors. I mean, I just saw that he's not practicing today, so who knows if he's still dealing with concussion stuff. Mm. So if he's out, that should be a good matchup for the Seattle defense. Um, I mean, yeah, if you know what, if Taylor gets declared out, fire up Trey Sermon versus Jacksonville over Zay Flowers. That'd be my only suggestion. Obviously, like I said, Adams isn't shouldn't be playing. They're gonna just save him for the trade. Tucker should be good. Like I said, Jacoby Myers will probably get the shadow of what am I thinking of? Oh, Sertan. You have Montgomery on a bye. I see why you got to start some of these guys. But yeah, that'd probably be my only suggestion. Would be Trey Sermon if he's active. Start him over Zay Flowers. The Arab sensations. CJ Stroud versus Buffalo. I mean, hopefully it's not like the Minnesota game where he got shut down. But like I said, it's hard to throw on Buffalo. The problem with Stroud is that he's not rushing the ball. Um, but I mean, with those weapons, he should do good. With Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, I think should be back, and Joe Mixon should be back. So should be good. Should be a good game. Garrett Wilson versus Minnesota. I mean, hopefully, if Devontae Adams gets traded there, it means more opportunity for Garrett Wilson and Lazard on the bench. But who knows, man? It looks like Aaron Rodgers wants to bring his boys in. Um, so just temper expectation. Well, actually, I don't think Minnesota has like a strong defensive back that I know of. I mean, fucking Love threw for like 400 yards in the last game against them. But yeah, maybe this will be his get right game. Drake London versus Tampa. If it ends up being a little shootout or they have to come from behind, he should do well. Kirk Cousins should look to him a little more, give him some targets. ETM versus Indy. I mean, I don't know what happened in the last game. I think they said he sat for like the first quarter or something. But that against Indy giving up a good amount of points to the running back. So it should be a good matchup for him if he's healthy. Brian Robinson Jr. versus Cleveland. That was been solid all season. I think he's like running back 5 as far as like yards and everything. So keep firing him up. Tyreek Hill, Taysom Hill. I mean, yeah, it could be a shootout. You know, he gets a lot of just watch for his health. Like I said, it was a rib injury. I don't know how well he'll play with a rib injury. I mean, you got Njoku, Tucker Craft out there in the wire. Just the problem is this is on Monday night, so Juwan Johnson, I think is his name, is the other tight end. Probably grab him and start him just in case on Monday night. Malik Neighbors, if he plays, like I said, he's not practicing today. So hopefully he's good to go for Sunday. Rome Dunze versus Carolina. I'm telling you, just with Keenan Allen coming back, it kind of affects him more. And him and the tight end, so that kind of sucks. San Francisco versus Arizona. I mean, San Francisco's a solid defense, but I mean they have been giving up some points and stuff like that, so just be wary of that. Laporte on a bye, Warren injured. Javonte Williams hasn't done anything. I mean, you could probably start him. He had a good game last game. Javonte Williams and Las Vegas has been giving a lot of points to the running back position. Josh Downs. I'd start Downs over Dunze or Javonte over Dunze. That's just me just playing off of matchups, you know, because you could really throw on Jacksonville. I mean, it says it's showers. Apparently, it's supposed to be a rainy day, a rainy game. Oh, for this one, looks like it'll be a sunny day. So yeah, man, just keep a lookout on that weather stuff. But yeah, for me, it would be maybe Javonte and Josh Downs, and then just keep track of Hills and Neighbors' health going into it. Yeah, that'll be that's probably the only people that I would really. I mean, because you got to keep starting Garrett Wilson for now. Like I said, this might be the week he gets right. Hmm. Hmm. But yeah, I think that's about it. So yeah, we'll move on to the next matchup. Let's get ready to rumble. All right, our next matchup, we have Nighthawk versus OG Men. Nighthawk projected at 112, OG Men projected at 90. Oof. Nighthawk starting Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Xavier Worthy, Derrick Henry, James Cook, Travis Kelsey, Bucky Irving, Cortland Sutton, and the New Orleans defense. Ojimen starting Anthony Richardson, Michael Pittman Jr., Deontay Johnson, Kenneth Walker, Joe Mixon, Mark Andrews, Calvin Ridley, Keenan Allen, and the Tennessee defense. But yeah, I don't see why Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase can't put up a good stat line against Baltimore. Looks like they're getting it going. It's got their first win last game against Carolina. Um, so yeah, I don't see why he wouldn't be. And if Derrick Henry and them get up, they might have to throw more. Xavier Worthy, I mean, with Rasheed Rice gone, he could get a little bit more targets. Problem is, he's more of that deep shot guy. He doesn't really run some of those intermediate routes. And New Orleans could put some pressure on Patrick Mahomes. So we'll see how he does on his first game without Rasheed Rice, but I think he'll do okay. Derrick Henry, I mean, you start Derrick Henry versus Cincinnati. They gave up a ton of points to Zach Moss. I mean, to Ramondre Stevenson week 1. They've been giving a lot of points to the running back position. Chuba Hubbard put up a good stat line against them last week. So it looks like Cincinnati is a team you could run on. Derrick Henry versus Houston. I mean, Tank Bigsby ran all over him last game. So did Travis Etienne. So I think Cook could do it. Like I said, Buffalo might just get back into that running game and try to set up the pass and stuff like that. Travis Kelsey, I mean, New Orleans is a bit tough on the tight end position, but I mean, he should be getting those receptions, especially like I said with Rasheed Rice out. Should be back to normal for Travis Kelsey. Should. Bucky Irving versus Atlanta. I mean, Atlanta has a stout run defense, but yeah, Rashad White is the guy who catches the ball. I don't think Irving does. But I mean, he's been putting up some points the last few games, and they're trusting him a little more. So we'll see how that goes for him. Cortland Sutton versus Las Vegas. I mean, maybe they just want to run the ball, get that game over with, and get the win. But I don't know. That Las Vegas defense is also a bit stingy. New Orleans versus KC. Yeah, I mean Patrick Mahomes, man. Plus, you got two guys that you need to score. So I don't. It's kind of. But I mean, yeah, I mean, who are you gonna drop to get another defense? Um, plus, you know what about Cortland Sutton? He scored in the last few games, so I mean, by luck, he kind of overthrew him, and he was able to jump up and catch it. Mm, I mean, over Sutton, I don't know. No one I'd really on your lineup that I would start unless you want to. I mean, Eckler, he was putting up some solid points, but he's still on concussion protocol. Mm. Yeah. So, anyways, I owed you, man. Anthony Richardson against Jacksonville. I mean, like I said, you could throw on him, but I guess we'll check the status on him if he could go. Michael Pittman Jr. I said you could throw over Jacksonville. I think Richardson could have a good game against them. Deontay Johnson has been solid, even though Chicago has a pretty tough defense. He gets those targets, and he should have a good game. Kenneth Walker versus the Giants. I mean, he came back with a fucking vengeance, put up like 30-something points. So he should be solid. Joe Mixon versus Buffalo. I mean, we just saw that what's his name? Derrick Henry put up some solid stat line against Buffalo. You could run on Buffalo. So he should do well if he's back to being healthy. Sticking with Mark Andrews versus Cincinnati. Uh, I don't know, man. But hey, it could be a shootout and Mark Andrews gets some targets and finally gets going. Calvin Ridley's on a bye. Don't forget to switch him out. Keenan Allen. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't trust Keenan Allen. I don't trust Caleb Williams to get him the ball. Tennessee defense on a bye. I mean, well, shit, put Kareem Hunt in as over Calvin Ridley. And then, I mean, if you're not going to use Conklin, just drop Conklin and pick up a defense. Still some good defenses left on the wire. Defenses you're going to have to take a chance on, but I mean, why not? Fuck it. You won last week with two guys not putting up much points. Two people putting up zeros. But I mean, you had played Nighthawk last week, he would have won. So we'll see how this week goes. I just got a notification Tank Dell is back at practice, so I mean he could be solid, but yeah, that's boomer bust. You be taking a risk. You're already taking a risk with Xavier Worthy being your boomer bust player. But good luck to both of you. Nighthawk, you need a win to keep moving up those ranks. Ojimen, you need a win to stay competitive. But yeah, just injuries and shit and bye weeks put together. Not a good recipe. So yeah, good luck to you both, and we'll get into our last matchup of the week. Let's get ready to rumble. All right, in our last matchup of the week, we have the En Fuegos going up against the Warhammers. The En Fuegos projected at 101 versus the Warhammers projected at 113. The En Fuegos starting Kyler Murray, Brandon Ayuk, Chris Olave, Rico Dowdle, Raheem Mostert, Trey McBride, Jaden Waddle, Jordan Whittington, and the Baltimore defense. Warhammer starting Jordan Love, Mike Evans, Christian Kirk, Brees Hall, Zach Moss, Isaiah Likely, George Pickens, Terry McLaurin, and the Pittsburgh defense. The En Fuegos, Kyler Murray versus San Francisco. Like I said, he should do well. It's like he fucking has that good first drive and then just shuts down after that. But hopefully they get it together. I can throw some shit to my boy Marvin Harrison, and I think he should have a good game. And if they're playing from behind, maybe a lot more throwing. Hopefully he runs this game. He didn't run last game. I don't know what's going on, but that'll help his fantasy output. Brandon Ayuk. I mean, if he doesn't get it against Arizona, man, I don't know. It's already been a month. Get it together. This is why you have training camp and shit, so you could get your shit together. But yeah, I mean, against Arizona, a shitty defense. I don't see why he wouldn't be able to get at least a touchdown or something. Chris Olave versus KC. Like I said, Chris Olave could get shadowed by their corner. They have some okay corners. But I mean, with Carr targeting him and everything, I think last game he had a good amount of targets. He should do well. Just enough for PPRing himself to a good game. Rico Dowdle, tough matchup, but I mean, he could get some of those catches. Elliott's not working out. That's either him. I mean, shit, they're even giving CD Lamb some carries out of the back. I mean, I don't know how long it's going to take before they put in Dalvin Cook. Raheem Mostert, I mean, hopefully he plays. I mean, they got a bye next week. They might just hold him out until week 7. But who knows? I mean, they do kind of need him. That run game doesn't look good. Trey McBride, I think he was back at practice today, so he should be good to go for Sunday. He should get some targets from Kyler Murray. Waddle at New England. It's kind of hard to start Waddle. especially with Huntley. And then I think he came off limping in that last game for a bit. He wasn't really in there too much. I mean, if you're just trying to get points, I guess. Whittington, my sleeper. Had to drop him because I needed space for like backups and shit. So last game he had a good target share. You might go to him a little bit more. If we expect the Packers to be up in this game, I think they're gonna have to throw, and I think Whittington could get some of those targets. Baltimore versus Cincinnati. I mean, they shut down fucking Buffalo, so I don't see why they couldn't do something similar to Cincinnati with that bad offensive line. Damn. Uh, Picked up Algier. I was trying to get him, but I put Dontavian Wicks first on my waiver wire, so I grabbed him. But I make a start Algier over Waddle just to get some points, or put him in your running back. That way you have flexibility between both of them. I mean, running back right now is kind of scarce. Oh shit. I mean, if Akers couldn't do it when he didn't have Joe Mixon, I doubt he does it now that Joe Mixon's back. You got Gibbs, Hurts, Brown on a bye. Brooks is who knows what's going on. You could put AJ Brown. The good thing is they left him on out. You could put AJ Brown on RR, and you don't have to drop anybody and pick someone up. Just FYI. Like I said, Chandler's on there, P Ryan, on the wire as far as running backs. That's all I could think of. Yeah, man, it's hard dealing with injuries and shit, and people. Not only the injuries, but people on the bye. Warhammers starting Jordan Love. Jordan Love should have a good game against the Rams. I mean, they allowed a lot of passing. They let Caleb Williams pass for like a good amount last game. Mike Evans against Atlanta. Like I said, they have a tough corner on there. I just can't remember his name. But he should do well. Baker Mayfield's always looking for him to catch the ball and everything. So he should do good. Christian Kirk, he came back, had like 13 targets this last game. And you can throw on Indy. So yeah, they need to get on that, get that win. Brees Hall had a down game, but I think he bounces back. Be a little tougher against Minnesota, but I mean, this won't be a weather game. Looks like just partly cloudy, but I think he'll do well. Zach Moss versus Baltimore. I think you could run on Baltimore. It's just that fucking they get up by big where they abandon the run, and that's not his game thing. His game is running between the tackles. Chase Brown is the one that catches the short ball and everything when they're on the hurry up. But I don't see how he shouldn't have a good game to start off. Likely, if they go up, they're just gonna run the ball. They won't throw. It's a lot of game script, but why not? I guess. Like I said, Njoku's on the wire. Tucker Kraft is on the wire. Some all right tight ends that are a little bit more involved than these guys. George Pickens versus Dallas. George Pickens has been pretty solid all season. Was it Trevon Diggs or something? He should go up against him, but I can see Justin Fields getting him the ball. Terry McLaurin versus Cleveland. I think their top corner got injured also in the last game. So McLaurin should be good. Plus he's getting rapport with Jaden Daniels. That should be good for him. It'll be a test for them as far as they've been on a roll. Pittsburgh versus Dallas. Pittsburgh has a solid defense, so keep starting them. Oh, Goddard's on a bye. That's why. Ray Davis is a backup. Bray Allen's a backup. Madison. They say Madison could get some touches, but yeah, I would have started him over Moss. Yeah, no one on your bench had really start over anybody on your starting lineup. But yeah, I mean, Love's gonna continue to throw and put up those numbers as long as he. So I mean, I haven't heard anything about him being injured or not, but or he had any setback as far as him coming back from that injury and whatnot. But yeah, En Fuegos needs a win. Warhammers, same thing. Stay relevant. Stay in sixth place. Keep his spot up there. And but yeah, so good luck to both of you. Yeah. All right, and that'll do it for me. For this week. Good luck this weekend, motherfuckers. Except for you, Rook. No good luck. But like I said, man, work that waiver wire. There's still people on that wire that you could probably pick up and start. Check out those matchups. There's a lot of info out there and shit that you could check out. So good luck. Peace out.
Thank you for watching the Los Borrachos Happy Hour. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time,